over James White's Toney. Toney just a bigger guy, despite the fact that there's not that much weight difference between them. But if you just look at the body size structure of these two. I think Robinson's game is going to be to stick and move and make Toney chase him. Arnie Rosenthal, his manager, calls him the most disciplined fighter I've ever been around in my career. So he'll need to stick to a game plan here against Toney. He not only is just an excellent fighter with a fighter's mentality, but really knows a lot of tricks, really knows what to do in that ring, knows how to set a trap for an opponent, knows how to turn his body, knows how to block a punch with the shoulder. I mean, this guy is an intelligent fighter in that ring. You know, he is, and yet there have been times when I've done James Toney's fights, or I've seen James Toney fight, that he does. He's got all the tools in the bag. He just doesn't always use all the tools. Now, he says he's a different guy, and that's what we'll see tonight. All right, vehicle's hands, step out. He's determined to not only win the fight, but to knock Robinson out. You heard him tell that to Sean O'Grady earlier tonight. Jason Robinson is a former kickboxer, a three-time kickboxing champion, so he was able to make the transition pretty good. He got tagged with a good short right hand from James Toney there. And Sean O'Grady, you don't often see, very frankly, kickboxers translate into good fighters.
No, it's because they don't plant their feet. What they try to do with Robinson is try to make him settle down more, keep those feet into the canvas. If you're trying to kick 6 kicks around, you're not really going to plant your feet. With his feet planted, he can punch a bit harder.
I'm trying to work the jab. It's not a powerful jab.
Fighting from that southpaw stance, and I tell you, that is amusing to any fighter in boxing. You jab with the right hand, your cross is the left cross, and you're throwing a right hook. The punches come at you from different angles. Although James Toney, you guys talked about it, you alluded to it in the last conversation about how he has been around the block. He knows what he's doing inside the ring. You know, he probably has been his own worst enemy in the sport of boxing. You talked about his lackluster performances. Sometimes he falls asleep in these fights, and hopefully he doesn't do that here.
Well, he says he's a different guy. You saw him switch up for a moment. He went southpaw for just a moment there.
Yeah, I think he was hearing me talking about how confusing that is.
Yeah, I think he's doing a good job of body punching here, getting within range.
Don't get in a hurry. You know what? You're a professional. Let's see what your opponent has. Take your time. You got 12 to deal with.
End of the first round. Feeling that round.
Okay, Sam, I told you this was your Huckleberry. Then I tell you this. Now listen, you're a little bit short with your
Jason
jab.
Robinson, who we've talked about his discipline, he loves to train. Gym rat, he gets always in good shape. Not much of a puncher, although he scored 10 KOs in his 16 victories, and as we mentioned, former 3-time professional kickboxing champion. Loves the challenge of orthodox boxing, however. Across the way, Freddie Roach giving the instructions to James Toney, and I think we always know that the condition and determination as far as James are concerned are a factor, and he seems to be in good shape for this one. You can't ever argue with his opponent list, and he always wanted the toughest guys out there too. And he says, I'm old school. Studied films, he knows all those tricks. Yeah, he talks about Archie Moore, he talks about Sugar Ray Robinson as guys he likes to emulate. Izzard Charles,
one of the 2 predominant super middleweights of the mid-90s. The other was Roy Jones. And I tell you, even though those 2 fought, James Toney became a better fighter. This is the kid, Toney, who was a dead-end kid, street kid. He found a direction in boxing, and he just got enamored by the sport. He spent time reading articles. He spent time watching the tapes, watching fights, and learning as much as he could about the sport of boxing. And it really worked.
Left left-handed against him for a moment. He took a shot from Robinson. Jason Robinson seemed very calm about the whole thing. There were some words exchanged at the press conference this week between the two, but basically inspired by some comments from Robinson's manager, Arnie Rosenthal, about Toney being old and that his legacy is old. But and Toney came in looking strongly for Robinson at the press conference and Arnie Rosenthal. But you know, Robinson himself, he's very quiet. Doesn't say much, but he admitted to me, he says, I'm real excited about this, and I'm very anxious. This was yesterday, I believe, and I'm very anxious to get in there.
nice young man. In fact, Arnie Rosenthal, quick to point out, he said the quiet kids are the ones you have to be concerned with. Jason Robinson.
Toney looking to load up with that right hand now against the southpaw, come right down the middle.
And there it is.
It was a little short though. Southpaws is vulnerable to that punch. A real straight right hand down the pipe and a real wide left hook.
The way they stand their positioning, they're vulnerable to that.
Toney is one of the great practitioners of the art of blocking a punch with the shoulder and coming right back with the right cross immediately after that. And he'll try to take that jab if he can in that fashion and come back with the right cross right down the middle.
This is experience talking. I mean, James Toney, he's been in there with everyone. He knows how to roll a punch. Sometimes it's easier. You don't use as much energy to take the punch and then counter with your own, which is something that he does quite well that you're alluding to. For Robinson, he's got to be on his speed. First thing any aging fighter loses is his speed. Keep that speed going, and then everything else kind of falls in place. Work that jab.
Now he switches up again, goes lefty.
Don't be afraid to hit James Toney with an uppercut. The way he leans over, he bends at the waist. He is vulnerable to that shot, but you got to throw it.
Every time he goes lefty, that is Toney goes lefty, Robinson attacks it. Robinson's got very nice, very rangy, using the ring well. And he's keeping Toney off him pretty well.
You can see the concentration. A little upset that he missed an opening there. Robinson frowning. Really concentrating.
Coming to the end of round number 2. Well, a reminder, Sunday is at 8 p.m. Beyond the Glory second season takes you inside the hidden world of sports. Be a little white here, buddy. Beyond the Glory presented by Acura. Sundays at 8 only on Fox Sports Net. A lot of fighters in that one. A lot of football players. Lawrence Taylor, one of them that I liked a lot. I tell you, this round got out to a tremendous start. Both fighters came out and really put it on each other. Pretty even in that exchange. Toney was listening to Freddie Roach in the corner. I think Freddie Roach has really become one of the outstanding trainers in the sport. Absolutely. In fact, Fred, what that corner issue of Kale magazine calls him the Eddie Futch of the 21st century. And wow. What a compliment that is. Good left hand, a right hand really dropped in by Toney. I like the new breed of trainers. Many of them. Buddy McCurt, another fine trainer coming up. Joe Goosen. Freddie Roach. Guys with a lot of years out in front of them now to train fighters at a very high level. Roach was back in Atlantic City last night and here today for this fight. So an amazing turnaround. Nothing is not dedicated. Toney touches on the arms of Robinson. Those two body shots are pretty good though. And Toney, this is typical of Toney because he has always been a fighter who likes to break down his opponent. He dissects them, basically bury them, breaks them down bit by bit. I saw him do this even at the top of his game with a number of fighters. I think back again of the Prince Charles Williams fight, a typical example of that. James necessarily isn't a hurry fighter in that ring. The only time I ever saw him hurry was when he was fighting Tim Littles at the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles, and he got badly cut at the end of the 3rd round. The referee told him he was going to give him one more round, and that was it. And he went out and took care of business, and he stopped Littles in the 4th round. That was an amazing moment in the career of James Toney. But other than that, he usually likes to do it little by little. Good right hand, a left hand behind him. Nice combination by Toney. And Toney walked into a left hand of Robinson. Toney turned it up a little bit there for a moment. Both these guys are landing strong blows today. These are not pity-pat punches. All right, up, step out. Right, watch your head. Watch your head right there. Listen for the bell. A fighter.
You're gonna step in a little bit. But listen, I don't want you to step in front. He'll get this guy's gonna go in desperate move any minute. He's gonna come at you. He's gonna make a lot of mistakes. Well, baby.
That was the corner of Jason Robinson between rounds. Toney coming out all business here. I think Freddie Rose lit a fire with James Toney between rounds. They want Jason Robinson in the other corner to keep using the jab, but don't stand in front of Toney. After that initial rush, Toney back into the wait for your man to come to you mode. I'll give that angle again with a side step. Sean Brady's with Arnie Rosenthal in the corner now, Jason Robinson.
Yeah, and good instructions over here, guys, from Arnie Rosenthal. What made you say not to stand in front of Toney this way for Robinson?
It's the plan. Just keep moving, show him angles, keep that jab popping in his face, and take him into the deep water. He's following the plan perfectly. I can't ask for more.
Coming into this fight, Arnie, you told me that you wasn't sure how Jason was going to react in this fight. A high fight atmosphere, a lot of people, excitement, a lot of television. How's he doing?
He's doing beautiful. No intimidation whatsoever. We're just 100% happy at this point. There's a lot of fights to go, though, Sean. As you know, this is scheduled for 12.
Yeah, and you know how Toney fights. He starts off kind of slowly, and then he goes to a crescendo.
And he's an all-time pro. So.
Yeah, and what do you do? How do you keep Jason this focused throughout this fight tonight?
I think Toney will take care of that for us.
Yeah.
You just don't let up with James Toney. You have that man in front of you in the ring. You stay focused for 12 rounds.
Oh, no joke.
Trouble.
No joke. Otherwise, you're getting hurt. How do you keep him from kicking?
We broke that habit a long time ago.
Oh, but he might want to now. All right, that's Arnie Rosenthal. Jason Robinson, he likes what he sees.
Yeah, pretty good idea, I think, Rich. I mean, he's gone in here with an idea of how his man can best win this fight, taking him to deep water, he said. But I think Robinson's fighting a great round here. He's been on the move just a little bit, just enough to keep Toney off balance, flashing out that right jab. Toney hasn't been able to find him with too much in this round. The James just keeps trudging ahead, looking to wear out Robinson. But Robinson was very calm and poised in there, fighting a good game plan. There he is. Toney getting a little bit more in punching range, though. Toney kind of walked away and discussed that. I wonder if Toney might have hurt his hand or something. Toney has not done much in this round. He's been out hustled by Robinson in this round. Good right hand right there by Toney. Oh, another one right on the button. And Robinson's dead.
It's just the same old.
Toney is the great practitioner, turning the shoulder and the right hand follow, the counter. That's what we described for you earlier, and you just saw the prime example of it. And then there was another one right after that, too. Robinson actually didn't take a backward step, but his corner was all over him for standing in front. Now, I still gave that round to Robinson, even though I know the judges won't. But he had fought a tremendous round until then. I think Jason Robinson clearly won the first 2 minutes and 50 seconds of the round. But that was the best single punch of the fight. That was a hard, smashing right by James Toney. So whether or not they won the round for him, it did some damage. James is so cute in there, I'm telling you. He just saw that move we talked about, that turning of the shoulder and coming right back with the counter right. I don't know that anybody's done it better really in the last 10 years than James Toney. He's very crafty. So Robinson is letting Toney into his punching range more now. Yeah, that'll be disastrous for him. He needs to keep him out of the end of his punches, just like that. You know, I don't think he can be right here if you're Robinson. Right hand. Toney's looking for that counter right.
just a tad a little hesitant this round after eating that right hand in the last round. Trying to get that jab to work to good effect.
Left hand by Robinson in the close quarters. Right hand by Toney, not quite as solid as the others.
Whoa, let him out, let him out. Stop punching, whoa, stop, step, break.
Again, Toney giving him a lot of different angles, but not a bad round for Robinson again. And there's the right hand, and that is going to drop Robinson. Just like that. That caught him right on the chin.
5, 6, 7, 8. Let me go across the gloves. Watch to me. Come here. 9.
Well, it came right at the end of the round again. 2 rounds in a row.
We told you he was loading up with the right hand, but he's been looking for the right hand. He found it several times in the round before that, and then the tremendous booming shot by James Lights Out Toney, and it was almost lights out for Jason Robinson there.
Knockdown.
Robinson has fought a nice round.
Get up.
There you see the right hand back into the ropes. Toney senses the predicament immediately. Pat Russell, good job of refereeing, got Toney out of the way immediately. Oh, there it is. A beautiful counter right. It's what we've been talking about the whole fight. Toney looking for it and finally found it in the big way.
That's it.
There's the punch, the lead by Robinson, the counter right from Toney.
Mouthpiece in,
The
touches
follow-up
out.
shot, and then good refereeing by Pat Russell to get between them.
That's it.
Now
They need a big wipe
Robinson
in
in
that corner. I
deep
need all that
trouble
water
here.
gone.
Still doesn't seem 100% back yet, Robinson.
And Toney comes right after. Hits him with a right hand and another right hand. Toney being aggressive in this round, not waiting. Oh, big right hand.
I tell you, this is a one-punch fight in terms of how Toney can win it. With the counter right. He's destroying Jason Robinson with right hands. He's found the man's weakness, exposed it. Look at him turn his shoulder. He's ready to launch that right hand again.
I'm just waiting on it. You can just see it. Robinson working the jab. Going to be a little more hesitant with that left hand, Will Robinson.
I'm looking at his legs. They're not all there, Barry.
Slapping right hand that time by Toney.
Robinson let up there. He had Toney backing up for a second, then he just backed off.
Probably a good idea for Robinson to stay away from Toney in this round.
Probably be a good idea to stay away from 12 rounds.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Also, Robinson seems to be pushing his punches a little bit more in this round. John Brady?
Oh, experience is a great teacher, huh? See what James Toney did? He took Jason Robinson out to the deep water and then he drowned him. What he did is he took Jason Robinson's punches early. He rolled his shoulders, he turned, he timed it properly, took his time, and then when the window was open, he went for it. The window was open, now it's closed again, but when it was open, he was really trying to go for the tail.
Does? He's still kind of playing coy here, is Toney. Shake his knees, an old trick that Sugar Ray Leonard used to do.
But he hasn't really gone for the gusto in this round. And Robinson has done a nice job, at least to this point.
Toney just happened all his own way, though. He just got playing with Robinson this round. Cat with a mouse.
rotating left-handed at times there, Barry. He said most of the time in the early going really was not an effective move for him, but he does it just to show him different looks.
Exactly. He's a pro. There's no question about it.
He bounced back pretty good in that last round. I really didn't think the way the previous round ended that he'd be able to make it through another round.
I didn't either. I just thought that Toney kind of played with him a little bit in that round.
But that may have cost Toney the round. But he seems a little more intent on business here in round 7.
Go back into the corner now. Jason Robinson. Sean O'Grady is back for Arnie Rosenthal. Sean?
Thanks, guys. Arnie, in the 5th round, Jason down on the canvas. He came out, had a better 6th round than obviously the 5th. What did you do to keep him going in this fight?
He's got a great
Focus?
I mean, the focus is there, like I said from before.
Yeah.
But he's got the heart of a lion right now, and he's starting to come back here. But he lost that focus for that split second, and Toney fought 10 seconds of that round, and that was the 10 seconds he caught him in.
The window of opportunity was open, and Toney really tried to go for it.
That's why he's saying Toney.
How is his response between rounds? How does he sing?
Fine.
Seems like he's in this fight.
Absolutely.
What do you try to do to him at this point? What do you try to get him to do?
Get back on the game plan that won the first 4 rounds for him.
Which is?
Stick and move to your right, and not drop your left hand like that.
All right, I think he heard that. Jason Robinson didn't want him dropping his hands. You got to remain focused, guys.
He still is dropping his hand a little bit. Punches in front.
He just seems to have no defense to the counter right of Toney. And Toney's not throwing it a lot, but when he does, it's with intent. Toney's left hand has not been real effective in this fight.
No, and he's throwing it more now. It's almost like, let me just see if I can get this working.
I think Toney has gone back more to the gradually break down his opponent's role in this round.
There's the right hand from Robinson that rocked Toney. I think Toney just got a little too cute. I don't believe Toney is hurt. And there's the left hand, and that dropped Robinson. As soon as he got back to business, Barry, as soon as